to demonstrate to them that I cannot be intimidated.
Do you have any regret?
Pardon?
Do you have any regret?
See, I have some regrets. One, there's an impression being given. I have nothing against Governor Oshimole. He's actually a man I respect because, thanks to God, he's one of the few governors that has performed in his state. And he's a man I've known for years. In fact, he came to my mother's burial. We are close friends. I have, if you go and check back in the press, I have, on my own account, sent journalists to go and help him in his work because he was doing a good job. The last election, I sent, in fact, 1 or 2 journalists to go and help him. He's not a man that the outbursts or my reaction was that I expected...
It was continuous, as it were.
Indeed, I expected a comrade who knows how the dire situation Nigerians find themselves. That to say that Nigerians cannot discuss and to abuse the time we wanted Nigerians to engage Nigerians. That forum was for Nigerians to air their views, to express themselves. It was not a forum for a governor to come and hijack and grandstand.
Senator, you am retired.
Yes.
The chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee
Yes.
apologized on behalf of the committee.
Sure.
And that was an indictment, as it were. Do you agree with me?
You see, the chairman, I've also apologized. It's by our training in courtesy, there's an apology. But the issue is that there is no indictment of anything. God is our witness. There was no time I faced the governor and said, and we had a shouting match.
Who just felt that it was a conversation and he had the right to his opinion? That is me. Let me ask you this question. Did you actually resign or you were sacked?
Just let me correct one thing. The thing I reacted was usurping the people's time to express themselves. The conversation, he's giving us 40, we had 40 minutes. 1 hour with him and 40 minutes he lectured us on his own viewpoints. So he didn't come to take people's time. These people who were ex-governors, like the reputable J.T. Spieth, generals, ex-judges, and prince of the royal house of Benin Kingdom. I mean, I thought
that was the appropriate thing.
It wasn't yeah, you shouldn't come and usurp their time. And then also to describe those who believe in ethnic nationalities as tribalistic. The UN, if you go by the UN United Nations Declaration of September 12, 2007, they recognize the right of self-determination by ethnic nationalities. And this was even started by trade unionists. The International Labour Organization started in 1957 in Canada when some ethnic nationalities were being put down. The ILO fought for that. So I thought a labor veteran and a knowledgeable one as Oshomole should know that this is what the labor have been fighting for. And it's now become universally recognized. And of course, Canada is run on ethnic nationalities federation. French,
no.
English. Belgium, French, Flemish.
Yeah, look, I've asked, please answer my question.
Sure.
Were you sacked or you resigned?
I resigned. I resigned because some members, for their own obvious reasons, were blackmailing. That is, they threatened to leave if I don't leave. And I thought, for this project, which is very important for Nigerians to go ahead, I resigned. When I resigned, that's what happened.
Yeah. Let me talk about the whole essence of having a national conversation, sure. A national dialogue or national conference at this auspicious period in a national life. Do you think the time is appropriate for it?
Do you think the time is appropriate
for national conference?
Can I tell you, if you live in a house, and the house, there have been cracks in the foundation of the house, and you don't, because you don't have the eyes to see the foundation, and then someone uses scientific to say, look, this house, the foundation is not right, and it's been saying it for years, and you don't listen, and suddenly you started hearing crack in the house, and then you are not told, oh, the house is cracking, and then you start hearing the cracks, as the president is hearing the cracks in the house. Then someone else says, I better go, I have to I want to do up a room in that house, to decorate the house. What would you do rush for? Right now, except someone is sleeping, we can hear cloudly the crack of the foundation. If security people can be killed in Nasarawa, a whole people can just be shot. Soldiers people are being killed in the northeast of the country. Do we need them? I don't understand. Who do we need to come and tell us that we need to talk? We need to talk. So, and anybody who says the timing is right or wrong, I think the person is just somebody who is playing politics. You see, it's a high time people know that there's what is called objective, that is immediate objectives, and the long-term objectives. In every time, the immediate objectives cannot supersede or be at the expense of long-term objectives. Some of the progressives that are my friends, who are against the conference now, are doing it for their own political reasons. We are lucky to have a president who has given us a chance, that for a conference with no-go area for the first time.
That's right.
And a president who is humble enough to say the conference, the whole modus operandi of the conference will be determined by the people. What else can anybody ask for? I think we must be fair to ourselves.
And accept the offer.
Yeah, the offer. In our history, 98 years of our history, no one has given us a chance
as benevolent as it
yes.
Because he has the sovereignty, as it were, for the part of the national assembly sovereignty. Now, I want to ask, this is a conference of ethnic nationalities towards having, for the first time, a people's constitution.
Indeed.
What do you think are the issues that should be germane? I mean, that should be uppermost for Nigerians to discuss?
First of all, my former, will I say, politicians in uniform, they had a system whereby they left us with a constitution that had imbalances. The imbalances are that...
Let me just start with the military, the colonial constitution that we were left with.
No, I'm starting with the constitution they left us in 1999.
Okay.
The imbalances is such that a state like Lagos, I live, Lagos is by all accounts, UN sources or whatever, much more populated than Kano State and Jigawa put together. And yet, Lagos has about 1/3 local government,
20 local governments,
compared to those states.
About 70 something.
That is unacceptable. As we speak, 3 states, Kano, Jigawa, and Katsina, have more local governments than the Southeast put together. Is that a fair system?
So there's issues to be discussed at the national conference.
So there are issues to be discussed. The issues are that we need a system that obeys the principles of equity, fairness, and justice. Without that, we will continue going around in circles. And those circles may turn out to become what precedes a volcano? A swell that will be crisis. We want to avoid that. We want a peaceful route to negotiating so that we can live peacefully. We are blessed. We're a country so blessed. The only people, what is wrong with us is, I would say, our politicians. Democracy is not government for politicians by politicians. Democracy is government by people. What we have now is that government owns the people. It is the people who should own government. And I think
the sovereignty ultimately
it is indeed
lies with the people.
The Constitution says that.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that President Jonathan recognizes this makes him a man that we should all support to see this program through.
Particularly for saying no-go area.
Indeed.
Every area is open for debate.
And to also see that the remedy gave us, go and consult with the people, and we want this process to be driven by the people. That is very unique.
For the experience so far before your exit from the advisory committee, what was the feeling like?
The people want a conference of ethno-nationalities. Let me say this. We can change the name of Nigeria, which someone told us. It means Niger area. And a young man said it should have actually been Niger Benue area. That the fact that we only use one name is a misnomer. We can change the name of a country, but you cannot change me being a Bokiman. You cannot change someone being a Yoruba man. You cannot change me being an Hausa. So these are very fundamental bridging blocks of federalism that we must recognize. Having said that, we want a federation that is based on 6 regions, and representations to the conference must be equal representations by each of the 6 zones. So the idea of trying to use local government, which is already inflated in one part of the country against the other, shows that those who are asking for local government have no honest intention.
Okay, there's this question I must ask you because of your antecedent.
Sure.
There's this belief that coup making and coup plotting
Sure.
without fashion in Africa. Do you share that belief?
First of all, I'm not an expert on coup because I never planned coup against an elected government. My uprising was against a military government that...
So what do you call what happened?
Well, it's a pro-democratic action to restore back power to the people. People forget that. I'm not for coup, military coup. A military coup against an elected government is something that should never happen because it's never helped anybody. What we took part was an action against a military junta. It was not against an elected government. Shehu Shagari, that people now realize was a better government than most of these military men. The group I took action were the people who took action against Shehu Shagari. It is morally wrong for anybody to use his offices to usurp anything. And if a man uses his office to usurp, because you're a military man, to usurp power, it's wrong. And also, if a man is a politician and usurp power through fraudulent elections, it's also wrong.
So what did you know as a person?
What do I do?
You're a quantity surveyor, an engineer,
yes.
You have your master's in international relations or strategic studies. What did you know?
I'm learning to be a child of God. That's what I do now.
Very religious now.
Not really religious, really just to learn to stick to truth.
Move closer to God.
Learn to be truthful in life.
Thank you very much, Colonel.
Thank you.
Tony Enyong.
Thank you.
Retired.
Thank you.
That has been Colonel Tony Enyong, retired, a quantity surveyor, an engineer, and a man whose name means many things to many people. Up next is our media review with Enita Okediji. Don't go away. Thank you.
Welcome to the Media Review segment on Insight. We will discuss a few topical issues that have been reported by the media during the course of the week and see how the media has conformed to the principles of balance, accuracy, fairness, ethics and social responsibility to Nigerians. With me here to share his views on the reportage of a few major issues trending in the media for the week is Mr. Dennis Sami, the publisher of the Nigerian Pilot. You're welcome, Mr. Sami.
Thank you very much.
How are you today?
I'm fine.
That's great. A lot of issues have come up during the course of the week, but we'll just touch on a selected few. There's one on The Guardian, the headline, the lead story of The Guardian newspapers. It says, fresh outrage at alleged Chime's detention of wife. And it goes ahead to say, any good governor may divorce spouse. So what do you think about the choice of words used in this headline?
Well, the choice of word is a very simple thing. The idea is that the writer who had done that story, I'm sure, must have only speculated. Okay. It's only based on what is happening between Chima and his wife and what is going on there. Not a lot of people could tell the true story of what is actually going on in there. It's all about rumors here, rumors there, and when you do that, and if the true information is not coming out, then the media is bound to speculate. And I'm sure, and that's why the guy has used that headline, may divorce his wife. It's all part of happening or not happening. So that's what it's called. It's all about speculation at this point.
Okay, what do you think should guide the intention of a reporter in reporting such a personal and sensitive issue as this?
Well, in a situation like this, because the idea is that the reporter might not be having the true fact there. And that is why he has taken sides in this presentation. It's good to be for or for against in this write-up. And in trying to present a picture of if the governor may divorce his wife, it's a bit on the other side. Normally, you should have just give the true picture of what he knows that is going on.
Exactly.
If you say may divorce, it's somehow trying to even mislead or lead the government.
It's a legal term, and I just think that the word, maybe a word separate would have been fair enough at this point in time.
Yeah.
Then also going ahead to the first two paragraphs of the story, I thought I'm sure you read the first two paragraphs. I just thought that it started off with such a flowery start, and it's setting the tone for other paragraphs as well. And reading, I was a bit upset about the first two paragraphs because it was painting that scenario of a once loving husband, a husband who should have been more caring. And this is a case of dishing out information and also telling the viewers or the readers how to read or how to feel about the information. What do you think about this, sir?
My view and my take on it is that the reporter, like I said earlier, could take sides. Depends on where it's balancing to. Is he balancing to the woman's side, or is he writing in favor of the governor? And if he's doing that, that means at some point journalists might be biased. It depends on what they think and what they feel. They're part of society.
Should that be the case?
It's not supposed to be the case. Okay. A journalist is supposed to go in there and say, this is the true picture of what he sees. And part of what must have, put the facts on what is on ground there. And part of why he must have done the story that way is because it's limited to information.
Okay. Another point I would like to draw out from this issue is that I don't think, according to the Freedom of Information Act, I didn't really think that the media was sensitive enough to the privacy and the personal information of Governor Chime's wife, or the person in question. And I would say that the media may not have been so respectful of the law. What do you think? Do you think that the media is not being respectful of the Freedom of Information Act?
No, Freedom of Information Act is to allow the media to get information as at when due.
Okay.
And if there is a Freedom of Information law out there, like it is already in Nigerian society, and the media is not being able to access information, they still fall back to speculation. Because if the media wants to get an information and they go there, maybe we want to interview the wife of Chime to say our own side of the story. You can't get an access. You want to talk to the governor. The information is blocked.
When the media falls back to speculation, what is the impression? Well, how does that affect the impression of the
reader?
Exactly.
Yes, the media is all about stories. Chime and his wife, it's all about stories. And right now, it's a story. It's unfolding scenario. What is going on? This has come out to say this. This has said the other way around. This one says, oh, she's indicted. The other one says she's not well. The other one says... So it's all boils down to stories that are being presented from different angles. And so when you allow this to come up, you expect that the media will naturally speculate. And so this is part of what the man has done.
Okay.
He has gone there. He has not been getting the real information that is the true picture of what is happening. In a situation like elsewhere, if there is a true freedom of information, in a public office like that of a governor, there's something affecting the wife, the media has a right to know. And so the media should be able to be allowed information, the access to get that information. Okay. And so if that is not coming out, the media is going to speculate on bits and pieces of information to do a story. Whichever way you look at it, the media must do a story.
Okay, so because of time, we'll just move on to the next issue, which is the death of Professor Iyayi, the ex-ASUU president. I'm just going to look at a few headlines that came up during the course of the week. The Daily Independent here says, Iyayi ex-boss killed by Kogi governor's convoy. The National Mirror here says, ex-ASUU leader Iyayi killed in governor's convoy crash. The Daily News Watch here says, ASUU strike, everybody loses. VC, NUC goes further to say, Iyayi dies as lecturer's vehicle. Kogi governor's convoy collide. President Jonathan, Mark, Minister, others mourn. And then also the Nigerian pilot says, your destiny is in your hands. No, that is not for the Iyayi story now, but he says here for the Iyayi story, Iyayi, ASUU continues strike.
Yeah.
There are several others. A lot of newspapers covered, this story. What do you think about the reportage of this story?
Now, you see, you should look at the news from two dimensions.
Okay.
First, ASUU is on strike. And if ASUU is on strike, they're looking at possibilities of, having met the president, and they're looking at possibility of calling off their strike. Then they're on their way to a meeting. Part of the idea was to hold a meeting to come up with decisions to call off their strike. And then suddenly they saw a government convoy has collided, and an ex-president of ASUU is killed in the process. The media outright here wants to sell story. So the media will give any picture to capture the situation that is unfolding.
Would that be the case? Because I read some of the headlines and it outrightly said Kogi State Governor
That shouldn't have been the case.
Killed
Yes, that shouldn't have been the
so
convoy. You see, because
think?
that is what they call sensationalism in journalism. And they have only sensationalized their story to be able to sell. But in the true fact of the story is that if it wasn't the Kogi State Governor's convoy, what if it was another convoy? What if it would have just been, an accident occurred, 2 cars collided with the convoy, with the Iyayi's vehicle. And
he wasn't even in the convoy, was he?
Yes, so that could be the story. So, but in this situation, it's a governor. What is a governor known for? Going on with siren. And they assume that governors are driving recklessly, and so the media has to sensationalize on that story. And that is why it's all part of what journalism is all about, making the story tick for the readers, and so for the reader to be able to buy. Somewhere you will say, okay, fine, it's not supposed to be that way. That is when you think as an ordinary person on the street.
But as a publisher, which should outweigh the other?
As a publisher, I would, as a journalist, first of all, yes, I will first of all try to balance the story to say, okay, yes, if I was to cast an headline in that story, I was okay, yeah, involved in a car crash and is dead. That could be more normal.
Fair.
But
yes.
But in a situation where the media wants to sell, they won't be thinking the way I want to think at this point in time.
Is that the case of most of our national dailies in Nigeria?
Yes, elsewhere, everywhere in the world. Journalism is all about stories, and stories is about speculation. Speculation is part of stories. And of course, sensationalizing a story is what makes the media tick, and the media wants to sell their newspapers. And so you expect all that to be part of what the media is all about.
Okay. So there's this report that came on that's the Weekly Trust on October 19th, on the October 19th edition, that the court bars Baraje faction from parading itself as PDP, the new PDP. Do you think that if this law has not, been reversed, or if this judgment has not been reversed and it still persists, do you think how professional is it for the media to still be reporting PDP as the new PDP, or reporting that faction, the Baraje faction, as the new PDP?
Well, the Baraje faction of new PDP is a very simple issue. Some few aggrieved members will still believe they are the true owners of PDP, or they are the true custodian of what PDP is all about. Decide to go into different aspects of it, create a faction, and call themselves the new PDP. So, in the court judgment, the media followed exactly the presentation of what the group called themselves. So therefore, when you call yourself and tag yourself a name, the media will follow that name. The media is watchdog. They are watching society, what is going on, scenarios unfold. And so they say, okay, we have new PDP. So when the court closed that aspect, that these guys are not supposed to be called new PDP, the media toes the same line. So whichever way you swing the media, they follow.
But the court has, placed a judgment that they should not be called the new PDP.
Yes.
How appropriate is it for the reports to still be coming out on the PDP? That's the new PDP faction now, as it were.
No, right now I don't think they should be called the new PDP. They should be called Baraje faction, or Baraje group.
Okay, so the media has been disrespectful of the law.
Well, the media somehow could only be writing that to still give
people an idea
of the same so-called group, even though they are legally not supposed to be who they are.
Okay. So we'll take one last story now before we wrap up. This is the These Days story for Tuesday. It says, in an ambush of judiciary, PDP suspends Onyola. Three others suspended in an apparent afterthought. What do you think about this headline?
The headline is...
In an ambush of judiciary.
No, they say the point is this. If the PDP says they are no longer... Onyola is not part of their group. Onyola has gone to join a particular group and has created a lot of problems within the PDP. and the PDP wants to remain as a family. And then suddenly the man gets a court judgment. The judiciary is independent of his own. And so therefore, the judiciary has said, by all ways, he was elected and whatever. So they decided that the only option is to reinstate him by the judiciary. But the PDP as a party has its own mechanism.
What I'm actually referring to
Yes,
here
because
is the choice of words.
Because it said ambushing.
Don't you think this is editorializing?
No, because they said ambushing the judiciary. Why are they saying ambushing the judiciary? Because the judiciary has given a judgment. PDP, okay, you have gotten your judgment, isn't it? No problem. But we'll suspend you from the party. That's why they said the ambush.
And it couldn't have just been better if they had said, or fair enough if they had just said PDP suspends Onyela, because it's still the same message.
No, because the PDP,
but, you know,
because there are two things, they're achieving two things in this
fight. And even
fight.
this particular case where it says 3 others suspended
Yes.
in an apparent afterthought.
You know, they are putting the same, whether it is afterthought or not. Why they said ambushing the judiciary is clear. Two things are there. The judiciary has given a judgment, reinstate Oyinlola. The party realizing that they don't have any other thing to go against the judiciary. They can't stop the court ruling. They can't stop anything that has come out of the judiciary. So what do? They go quietly and say, okay, this man has been involved in so many anti-party activities. He has committed so many things within the period. Okay. Why do we have to still participate with him as a member or still being a secretary of our party? So the only option is to suspend him. And if you are suspended, you can't still maintain your seat. And that is why that language of ambushing the judiciary is very clear.
Thank you very much. I know you still have a lot more to say, but we have to wrap up now. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
It's been insightful, and I'm sure our viewers think the same.
It's my pleasure being here.
Sometime soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was Mr. Dennis Sami on the Media Review segment. I hope you had an insightful time, and see you same time next week. I am Eniton Okediji.
With that interactive Media Review segment with Eniton.